Stockton University and the Atlantic City Arts Foundation have come up with a very ambitious and creative way to highlight art, community, culture, and entertainment. We'll learn more about this community event. Plus, we meet Father David Rivera, who is working to make a difference in the Latino community in the city of Bridgeton. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose quality, value, distinction. Choose Stockton.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University. Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas. Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. Stockton University and the Atlantic City Arts Foundation has come up with a very ambitious and creative way to highlight art, community, culture, and entertainment with a citywide festival. Joining me is the Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities, Lisa Hanacker. Dean, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show. Welcome to Latino Motion.
Thanks for having me, Bert.
And so this is an art festival that you and the Atlantic City Art Foundation have put together. Tell me a little bit about this event.
Okay, well, the event is called 48 Blocks, and the name comes from the fact that Atlantic City is 48 blocks long. Well, I had heard the name 48 Blocks, and I thought that would be a great name for something. And I had a meeting with some folks from the Atlantic City Arts Foundation, Joyce Hagan and Daryl Boltice. And we were talking and came up with this idea in that first meeting last year, I think at this time. And so we pursued it. We have gone to neighborhood organizations, ward meetings to gather support. We wanted it to be a community-generated festival.
What this makes this such a aggressive and really ambitious project. And when you mentioned 48 blocks, it literally is 48 blocks. I mean, you're doing activities throughout the city?
Well, we're not probably going to have something on each block, but we are planning on doing 48 projects, 8 in each of the city's 6 wards. Wow. So there will be 8 projects, either visual art, performing art, gardens, other, puppet shows. We've got a variety of things that we hope will showcase the creativity of the citizens of Atlantic City.
Now, this hasn't been tried before in the city, so it's certainly very ambitious. Let's talk about those different events. You mentioned the 6 wards, so each of the 6 wards will have activities. Is there a coordinator for each ward, or how are you organizing this?
Well, because we went to all the ward meetings, and then we started to have planning meetings, and people who had been at those showed up, and they've continued to come. So people who are active in their wards have sort of taken charge of coming up with projects and coming up with locations for those projects. And then we've provided some artists for the visual arts, and we've reached out to performers. And so people have just sort of heard about it, and they come to the meetings, and we plug them in some way so that they have a role. We're also reaching out to local restaurants. This festival is going to be on June 24th. It's going to be from 10 to 5, and then we're going to have a party featuring food from a lot of local restaurants in Atlantic City from 6 to 8 in the evening at the Arts Garage on Fairmont Avenue.
So the Arts Garage is kind of like the hub of everything that's taking place?
That's where we've been having our planning meetings, and that'll be the location of our final sort of big celebratory party, but which is open to the public as well.
So if we wanted to look at a schedule of the events, where can we get that schedule?
We're still working on that because, believe it or not, we're still nailing down a couple of the events.
Well, Make
But
sure that there's going to be one at the Stockton website as well as Latino Motion.
there will be, yes, we'll have a map. We're creating a Google map that will have all the locations listed. We're also going to come up with one that's a list of all the different locations so that people can either download it, or we're going to also create paper versions for those who don't have access to electronic means. We want people to go to our Facebook page, 48 Blocks, like us on Facebook, and you should be able to download, before the event, you will be able to download the map, which shows all the locations.
Now, you got the community involved. You mentioned the 6 wards and the community organizations that you've reached out to. And you also want this to be diverse, so you also have reached out to minority communities as well. Tell me a little bit about some of the arts projects that you're anticipating.
Okay, we have a couple of people are doing murals in different locations around the city. Building owners have volunteered their buildings. We're going to do yarn bombing. We're going to take one of the wards is turning a chain link fence into sort of a garden with yarn. We have a puppet shows. We have a jazz trio, bands, individual singers. We're doing one of our members is doing 3D chalk art. What else? Someone is doing a labyrinth in a parking lot, so that we have a wide variety of different kinds of activities. Garden tours.
So although this is obviously in Atlantic City, you're also inviting the general public. You want everyone to come and see these various events.
Absolutely. In fact, 2 of the folks that have been involved in the planning, their project is art bikes. They've got a friend, I think his business is somewhere, not in Atlantic City, but he's donated 20 bikes, and a week before the festival, we're going to decorate them.
Wow.
And then on the day of the festival, people will be riding them throughout the city. So they're going to invite all their friends, and we're really hoping that people will come.
So why Atlantic City?
Well, we love Atlantic City. We feel like Atlantic City's gotten a lot of negative press, but we think that Atlantic City, as you know, Stockton's going into Atlantic City, we believe that the future of Atlantic City is bright, but we also think that people talk about what Atlantic City needs. We want to show what Atlantic City has to offer, what the citizens of Atlantic City have to offer, because they have a lot to offer. And we're showing that through just the numbers of people that show up at our planning meetings and the enthusiasm that they brought. So we're very excited about it.
Well, we're looking forward to it. And as a resident of Atlantic City, I'm also looking forward to the event and certainly participating in all the things that are happening. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Welcome back to Latino Motion. We have no other than the Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities here at Stockton University, Lisa Honaker. Dean, welcome back to Latino Motion. And we were talking about this exciting event. It's the 48 Blocks. It's an arts festival that's being held in Atlantic City. A lot of parts to this, and one of them is sharing the memories with photos of Atlantic City. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we've set up 6 locations in each of the wards, and one ward in the morning, one ward in the afternoon, and we're going to invite residents to bring in photos, postcards, memorabilia, and we'll scan those photos and we'll photograph the memorabilia, and then we also invite them to share stories of Atlantic City. We already have an archive of this at the Atlantic City Public Library, and we're hoping to add to that store and then use this material going forward to create exhibits and other cultural events in Atlantic City.
So this is a way of capturing all that oral history that a lot of the folks, I know that we were talking offset about the Hispanic Festival. It used to be a large Latino community in the inland before the casinos, and there's a lot of history there. Then certainly we want to capture as much of that as we can.
Yes, certainly when we've been doing our planning meetings, people share these stories, and I keep saying, you need to go and get your oral history taken on June 24th.
All right, what other things are planned for this big event? Again, it's called 48 Blocks. It's a arts festival in Atlantic City. All 6 wards are involved.
Yes.
We talked about the oral history. What other things are you doing?
Well, one of the things is we got folks in SID at Atlantic City to give us Adirondack chairs, the chairs that they put on the boardwalk. So an artist is taking a chair in each ward and decorating that chair for the ward, and then they will be located on the boardwalk in that ward the day of the festival and remain there. So that'll be the sort of lasting, evidence of the festival, in addition to some of the murals and other things. But it's something we feel like the wards can celebrate.
So somewhere around Chelsea Avenue, I'll be able to see the one for the 5th ward.
Yes, you will.
It's very exciting things, and one of the hats obviously you wear is the Dean of Arts and Humanities here at Stockton. Is you're responsible for this set and the taping that we do. Want to thank you for the opportunity to have Latino Motion participate and be part of the community through this venue that you provided.
Oh, well, we're pleased. You came to us and proposed this, and we thought that this would be an excellent opportunity for us, for the university, for our students. We have students who crew this show. They get a lot of benefit out of it, and so we're delighted to have you here. You've helped us then pitch this to other entities that we're now taping shows for. So it's been a really productive relationship, and we're delighted that it's going to continue.
Well, thank you. And you mentioned Atlantic City and the fact that Stockton has had a presence in Atlantic City, but that presence is going to expand a little more. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we're in the process right now of building a dormitory and a classroom building in Atlantic City. It borders O'Donnell Park, and we're going to start offering core classes there in fall of 2018. It's under construction now. So that's going to mean a much larger presence, and we're very excited. We feel like we've gotten in at the right time, and that the city is on the move, and we love being part of that.
Now, obviously, when Stockton was formed some time ago, it was known as a liberal arts college. It's gone beyond that and offers so many different courses here. But arts and humanities are pretty strong here. Tell me a little bit about some of the career courses or the career that could be developed through your school of arts and humanities.
Well, we like to say that people who get degrees in arts and humanities can do anything because they know how to think, they know how to write, and they know how to communicate. Sure. And additionally, they're creative. So they've got those sorts of skills. Often people who work in the visual arts and in the performing arts have to, a lot of teamwork is involved. So we like to say they can do anything, but certainly public relations, they can be lawyers, work for nonprofits, work for business, do design, work as librarians, you name it. Anybody with an arts and humanities degree can probably do it.
So a big future for the kids here who are part of the crew today.
Absolutely.
And certainly for all the great work that you've done through this program. And again, the event that you're involved with currently is the 48 Blocks. It's a arts festival throughout Atlantic City, and we'll look forward to have that participation. And certainly, I hope to see you there.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Welcome back to Latino Motion. Throughout Latin America, the church has played an important role in social change and improving the circumstances for many in need. The Parish of the Holy Cross is working to also make a difference in Bridgeton, New Jersey. Joining me to discuss their work in the community is Father David Rivera. Father Rivera, welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you for having me, Bert. It's great.
And it's great to have you. And I learned a little bit about you, that you happen to be a local priest. You were born and raised locally. Tell me a little bit about where you were born.
Absolutely. I'm very proud to be Puerto Rican. It's my descent. My family's from Sidra, and I was born in Camden, and born and raised there, and so very proud of that.
And you're not too far in Cumberland County. Tell me a little bit about your parish.
Yes, I was stationed here in 2013. I came in August to Bridgeton. It was a surprise to me, but the reason I was moved, I was in Merchantville before, which is in the Pennsauken area, because of such a large Latino community. And because of some of the priest changes, they needed a priest there who was fluent in Spanish and could work with the community. And so that's how I ended up in Bridgeton. And I never expected it, but it's been a great blessing.
And you know, the Spanish community, Latino community plays a big role in the Catholic Church. Obviously, in your congregation, I'm sure there's a large Latino population.
Well, there's no doubt. At the level of the United States, it's already a large portion of the Catholic Church and growing every day, greatly due to immigration. In our parish, specifically in Bridgeton, we're mostly Mexican descent, or people from Mexico, Mexican descent, that make up the Latino population. It used to be Puerto Rican. A lot of them moved to Vineland area, and now the Mexicans. Now, when I was growing up in Camden, it was mostly Puerto Ricans, Boricuas, and then came the Dominicans, and now they're a big portion there. So our diocese has a very large Latino community.
Let's talk a little bit about the needs. And I know you're actively engaged in everything from immigration to housing. Tell me a little bit of some of the stuff you're working on.
Yes. Well, primarily the great need is spiritual. But as Jesus taught us, you got to feed people and also to be able to preach them. If they're dying of hunger, it's going to be really hard to have them be open to your message. And so the faith never neglects the bodily, even though it focuses on the spiritual. So in Bridgeton, we take that approach. So our mission is spiritual, number one. Sure. But then what are the basic needs of our people? So we have immigration issues. The diocese provides an immigration lawyer every 2 weeks to come to the parish. Nice. Give discounted consultation, help with paperwork, to give talks. We recently had the Camden Center for Law and Social Justice come in and give a talk on what to do if you happen to be an immigrant that's undocumented, and how to navigate the paperwork in the situation, especially in our current political climate, and to give some advice to our people.
There's also a lot of fear around immigration.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And so it's not unheard of that in 1 week we would deal with maybe 4 or 5 immigrant-related issues at a parish, whether it's to help translate, whether it's to give some advice, whether it's to go get someone, give a ride to go to the courts, to go up to Elizabeth, I believe, Port Elizabeth, I think is where they have the detention center. Right. So we're really involved. Our sisters, we have sisters that work with us, and they're very much involved in the community. Of course, we have a food pantry, so just food type things. We have a soup kitchen.
I know one of the things you were passionate about was housing.
Yes, so one of the things we see that in Bridgeton, we have a high level of rentals. Which in any city is not a good thing. And we have a large Mexican community, and housing and family stability are very much linked together. Correct. And so from the church's perspective, whatever's good for the family is what we need to do. So encouraging housing. I'm very happy that there's a group in Bridgeton called Unidos para la Familia. I'd like to put a plug for them. My friend Jonathan Cummings. We've been working together to attract a financial institution to give mortgages to those whose document status is difficult, and to be willing to take that risk. And thank God we found a credit union who is willing to make that risk, specifically in the Bridgeton area, and another organization, financial organization, that is willing to help with the deposit for mortgages to encourage homeownership in Bridgeton specifically. And so this group, Unidos para la Familia, prepares them through that whole process. So I'm sending families to them and working together.
Now, I know the Familia, very important for the church, and something that you're very passionate about in terms of parenting. Tell me a little bit about what kind of things you're working on in parenting.
Well, first I need to give if I could put some advice out there. Yes. Parents, I want to look at the camera because I'm going to talk to parents. Latinos, immigrants, I know you're hardworking people. Invest time in your children. It is the most valuable treasure you're going to have. please, no trabajen tanto, más tiempo con tus hijos, por favor. It's a big issue that we have, that there's a lot of, I wouldn't say culpable neglect. I mean, they're not doing it to hurt their children, but they work so much and they don't realize that what their children need is their presence.
You got to invest in your children.
You got to, and what are the things they need to do? Pray with their kids. Read with their kids. It's a shame how much of our children do not read. And part of that because their parents are not encouraging that kind of life of the mind in reading. And so it could be reading the Bible, Lives of the Saints, or just other fun things, comic books, whatever. Read with your kids. It's so important because in the end, it's going to bring down crime. It's going to bring down gang issues.
And it's going to help the family.
But that's how you help the family. Yeah, absolutely.
Father, thank you so much for sharing this information and that important message.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you for joining us at home once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose quality, value, distinction. Choose Stockton.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.